Hey everybody, this is Chase Petiche and this is Fempowered Moon Astrology Update for November 15th. On November 15th, we have a new moon in Scorpio. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, god of the underworld. Scorpio is the sign of transmutation, regenesis, transformation. It's really the sign of the shadow, our own instincts and internal deep unconscious self. So when we have a new moon in Scorpio, what we can do is we can access these energies very well, and we can begin to implant the things that hold these energies of Scorpio within ourselves for our own intentions for our life for the next 28 days cycle. So I'm calling this new moon cycle really the birth of the phoenix, death to mediocrity and the birth of the phoenix, because at its highest, Scorpio really rules phoenix energy, which is transformational energy, the energy of absolute surrender of the ego, the self, the personality, in order for what is actually emerging, what is actually evolving to be able to come through, right? It rules birth, equally it rules death. It rules the most intense energies on the planet. It rules depth of feeling, it rules intensity. So with this new moon and the astrology of it, we can use these energies to enhance whatever it is that we want to create or work with and work on in our lives. So the first astrological aspect that's happening with this new moon in Scorpio is that we have this beautiful trine to Neptune. There's a trine to the planet Neptune. Neptune is the ruler of dreams, vision, psychic awareness, interconnectedness. Neptune is really about, allowing ourselves to conceive of what can be and allowing ourselves to be drawn towards that. So what you can use this energy for is really, it also rules like deception of the self, because it rules fogginess and deception or absolute kind of clarity. So if we want to use the higher energies of the sign, we're going to say, okay, so Neptune trining this new moon is really, because we can use that depth of Scorpio, right? We can use that depth and intensity to become very clear about what our dreams, what our own hidden dreams are, what our own hidden dreams are. What our own hidden visions are. Because what we also have during this new moon is that we have Mercury, the planet that rules communication, opposing Uranus, which is in Taurus, the planet of eccentricity, authenticity, genius, rebellion. And so this can really, an authentic voice. So really what this is coming out as is like this opposition is like, where can we, trying to find the balance between our deeper internal self and expressing that self out into the world and in a way that is original, unique, not mediocre, transformational, and authentically true to who we really are. Because we really are at a point in history right now where the veil is thin. The veil is thin. The systems are dwindling. We are entering a new paradigm. We're really truly entering a new paradigm. I call it a paradigm of paradox that is beyond duality. And this is all in line with where we're headed, because we're in a Plutonic return, which happens the United States is in a Pluto return right now, which happens only once every 248 years, approximately, right? And what that basically means is that because Pluto is ruled by Scorpio and we've been in a Plutonic cycle, we've been in a Saturn conjunct Pluto cycle since 2020 began, which is now we're starting to come out of. But on top of that, we're also in a Pluto return. Pluto rules absolute attachment, absolute obsession, absolute grasping, and absolute surrender. Attachment, it's like the release of the material, the release. And so when it's at its highest, when Pluto's at its highest, it's really able to let go and That is why it really is the sign of power. And that's why Scorpios have so much power to be able to transmutate, to be able to truly let go and to become reborn. And that is the cycle that we are in right now. That's actually the cycle we're in right now. So the birth of the Phoenix, that is what I am calling this new moon, the birth of the Phoenix. And what does that mean for you? What does that mean for you? So, you know, when we start to really get into the energies of Pluto and the energies of Scorpio, and we start to think about how we can express ourselves out in the world, you know, Pluto, you know, the energies of Scorpio truly are really about allowing ourselves to tune in to the flow, the cosmic flow of what is happening to us, through us, right? And aligning ourselves with that flow, so much so that we're able to surrender whatever it is that is not fitting, that doesn't fit the flow anymore, because that is essentially what's going on, you know, in the universe, right? We're in this constant spiral, this constant cycle. Evolution, change, right, is the only constant. But when we hold on, when we keep holding on because we're scared, because we don't know what's going to come, because we don't have a deeper faith in whatever is on its way, when we're holding on very tightly, what begins to happen is the darker energies of Pluto, obsession, manipulation, jealousy, envy, these things, because we're afraid, right? And what we do is we begin to try to control our environment because so we have power over something, right? So like the ultimate ideas, you know, the two kind of ideas about Pluto would really be like thinking about somebody like Hitler or thinking about somebody like Gandhi, right? So someone like Hitler was like, he had all this massive power. It was based in fear, and he put it over something, over others, in order to be able to control and manipulate his environment to fit his own needs, right? And the needs of a nation and the consciousness of the time. It was like, right? Gandhi used that plutonic power, but took it inward. He took it into the self, and he took it in a non-violent way, and he used it in a spiritual form, so that it actually shifted his own soul, and he actually evolved with it, and that shifted the entire consciousness in a way that was more in line with a spiritual evolution, in line with of love versus fear. Because the flow, the basis of the flow is love. The basis of the flow is love. But because we're so fearful as humans of change, and we hold on to our whatever we think is going to keep us safe or happy, or what our personality or what society dictates will make us happy, and so we grasp and grasp and grasp, and what happens is, because we're grasping so hard, we're missing all the things that are actually coming to us. And this is really the art of surrender. This is the art of this is really the art of what the paradigm shifts. So I also believe that is happening simultaneously with what other things that are happening during the Plutonic return, is that we're having this era of paradox, where really the dualistic energies that have ruled our consciousness since the birth of the United States, since humanity began, we're kind of shifting into a paradoxical energy now, where two things can simultaneously exist as one. They can both simultaneously be true. There isn't just this black or white, right or wrong, good or bad. It's like they actually both are simultaneously existing, as we're seeing with such intense, you know, everything is coming to a head here in America with just the politics and the good and the bad and the right and the wrong, as they do in wars, right? It's just this clashing. But with where consciousness is hit on the planet now, and where we all are currently, what this is actually doing is it's flowering a new era of consciousness, which is really the era of paradox, and we're seeing it everywhere. And the most basic thing you can kind of really see it in is sexuality, right? Just fluidity, right? Where people are like, I am neither this nor that. I am both, right? And it's hard to wrap the mind around that when you've created an entire ego and personality around something being good or bad. But if you can kind of get into the freedom behind it, because when we have duality, what inevitably happens is wars do happen. because there is right and there is wrong, right? But when we start to embrace paradox, that two things can simultaneously be true and coexist, what we're doing is that's really the indigo. It's like the indigo of the red and the blue, right? It's like there's this it's like the evolution of consciousness. It's like freeing yourself truly from being good or bad. I mean, I know as a woman on this planet and as a spiritual teacher, you know, I was raised and we were all raised in so many ways, but as a woman, I've been raised to, like, you know, have ideas about beauty, have ideas about the way that I'm supposed to be. All of us do, right? When I start to embrace paradox, what I'm allowing myself to do is I'm allowing myself to accept the non-perfect, non-good parts of myself, like my fat. And I'm still saying, oh yeah, I'm fat and I'm beautiful at the same time. I'm two things that are simultaneously existing that previously couldn't be, right? It's like loosening up on the rigidity and the perfectionism that haunts us all. And this is really the Plutonic consciousness shifting of where we're heading, the exit of duality, the birth of the phoenix, and allowing ourselves to begin to voice the things. So this is odd, right? This is different. This is Uranian. And that's the other aspect on this new moon is this kind of authentic truth speaking, bizarre, inventive, genius, you know. Uranus rules rebellious. So what part of you, how can you begin to start, if we're integrating all the aspects of this new moon, begin to start actively putting voice and vision to your dreams while simultaneously activating your own authentic truth and allowing yourself to escape the prison of right and wrong. That's a lot. It's a tall order. Okay, I know. But these are all the energies that are happening because this is a confusing time. This is a confusing time. There's so much shit that's happening. I mean, it's hard to keep up. But what it's really about is it's about us. It's about our own internal journey. It's about ourselves, right? And really, it's about our own hidden aspects and our own shadows and the things that we project. And the shadow is based in we hide our shadow. We really hide our shadow because we think it's bad, because we've been based in this dualistic paradigm, right? And so the light, the good, the white, the mask is what we show while we hide this darker aspect. But as we begin to embrace paradox, the shadow can start to come to light. It can start to come out. And then we can start to expose the parts of ourselves that are weird, that don't fit in, that are more visionary, that are kind of bad or ugly, right? And that's the only way that the war within the self and externally will ever be put out, is if we begin to reconcile with our own darkness and we allow ourselves to become more paradoxical, to allow ourselves to actually embody paradox, which means to allow ourselves to embody our own darkness. It doesn't mean that you say, oh yeah, well, inside of me is actually a serial killer and I'm going to go and no. It means inside of me, maybe, you know, I have certain jealousy, or I have rage, or and it's allowing yourself to feel that, expose it, and not repress it anymore, and to allow it out. I'm not saying that, you know, these are things to be celebrated, but what I'm saying is that we're never ever going to be able to be our true selves if we hide the emotions that we actually have. And the only way out is through. This idea around perpetual positivity and just imagining yourself, yes, that's true. You can do that. You can also acknowledge your truth, which may be dark. But when you resist your own darkness and you keep pushing it down, you're denying it, and it will constantly come back. It's like the thing we resist comes back at you. When you begin to look at it and acknowledge it and allow it to be, it actually disappears. It actually moves. And this is the era of paradox. This is what we're going through. This is what the shadow is. This is the birth of the phoenix, is allowing the darkness out so we can be more authentically ourselves. We can be more textured. We can be more interesting. We can integrate our own darkness into our lives, right? Life is not good or bad, black or white. Life is messy. It's confusing. It's everything. And as we begin to embrace all those parts of ourselves, we will begin to have more inner harmony, inner peace, and we won't expect other people to be perfect. Because that's what happens, is that when we do these things to ourselves, then we're expecting others to be like that. And that's where we start to get in deep trouble, because then we're projecting you. When really, we got to take that finger and be like, what am I not looking at in myself? What am I not allowing out? How can I be more free? How can I be more free? So this is my message for the day and for this new moon, and I love you all, and I hope this is helpful, and have a wonderful new moon. Join us with Moonshaper on Moonshapers. Love you.